Hey everybody, it's James Freeman, and today I'm going to show you a couple of videos that will show you the gang mentality of police departments within the United States, and some of the things that are being done to fight back against it. The first video comes out of Aurora, Colorado, where the first police officer has been convicted of failure to intervene, a new law in the Colorado books that says that police officers who witness other police officers using excessive force are legally required to intervene and stop their fellow officer from breaking the law.
Tom, after 2 days of testimony and about 4 hours of jury deliberations, Francine Martinez wept quietly as the verdict against her was read.
Okay, you're on your face.
This is 2.5 minutes of brutality.
You're on your face.
2 years after Aurora police officer John Harbert was caught on body camera video badly beating a trespassing suspect, now former Aurora police officer Francine Martinez was found guilty of not trying to stop the attack.
We, the jury, unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt, find the defendant, Francine Martinez, guilty of failure to intervene.
On July 23, 2021, Martinez responded to a call for trespassing on South Parker Road. Within minutes, another officer, John Harbert, repeatedly pistol-whipped and choked the suspect, Kyle Vincent,
On your face. Get on your face.
while Vincent cried out for help. At one point, Harbert also pointed a gun at Vincent's head. Vincent was unarmed the entire time.
She's right there.
Prosecutors say Martinez stood by during the assault, despite her legal obligation to intervene in cases like this.
And if this isn't the case, where someone had a duty to intervene, then what is? Is there such a case? If that's not it, then why are we here? Why is there a law that prohibits it and requires intervention?
But Martinez's lawyer argued the opposite. He said Harbert attacked Vincent quickly and without warning, giving Martinez absolutely no time to intervene. The defense also argued that Martinez and Harbert were involved in a fierce fight trying to arrest Vincent.
You know, if the suspect had attacked the police officer, I bet you the police officer would be singing a different tune and would have had plenty of time to intervene and stop the suspect from attacking the police officer. But since it was a police officer attacking a suspect, the other police officer says, oh, there was no time for me to intervene. There was no time for me to step in and stop a violent attack.
And that there was no and Harbert were involved in a fierce fight trying to arrest Vincent, and that there was no safe time for Martinez to intervene.
The DA says she's just standing there the whole time. You know that's not true. She is actively participating in this struggle, yet they want to hold her to this impossible standard. They're asking you to do something superhuman.
Wow. The jury didn't buy that argument. Asking her to do something superhuman by, cops talk about being heroes all the time and being the ones to step up and protect you when you're in trouble. Who are you going to call when you need help? And now, the one time when somebody says, hey, she should have stepped in and helped, the attorney argues it would take superhuman powers to stop a bad cop. And you know what? It is a very difficult position to be in. It is a very difficult position for her to be in. And the reason is because police departments have a gang mentality. The blue line is a gang, and it has a very strong gang mentality. And you don't cross that blue line. You don't intervene with police officers who are breaking the law. You don't snitch on bad cops. And if you do, you're going to get run out of the department. You're probably going to get run out of policing altogether. And if you don't believe me, check out this story out of Florida. This video isn't new. It's from 2011. A lot of you have probably seen it. Some of you may know the outcome, what happened in the 8 months to a year that followed this. But I'm going to show you the video of what happened first, and then I will show you what the results were of a Florida police officer doing the right thing. It's a Florida Highway Patrol woman who witnessed a Miami-Dade police officer on the freeway doing about 120 miles an hour, turns on her lights to pursue him. I think the entire video is like 45 minutes long because I believe he fled for a long period of time. This is the last 2.5 minutes when he finally pulls over, and the highway patrol officer takes another police officer into custody for criminal speeding and felony fleeing and evading. And when she stops him, she treats him just like any other suspect on a felony stop, holding him at gunpoint and arresting him.
We're passing the 51. He slowed down to 78, but he won't stop.
322. If we got a tag and it's hit my rear now, I'll pass it on to 126.
Okay, stand by. He's stopped. Stand by.
Draws her gun.
Put your hands out that window right now.
Felony stop. Just
Hands out the window. Oh yeah, I'm serious. Put it in park. Get out of the vehicle. Get out of the vehicle. I didn't. Turn around. Turn around. Right now. So I'm done. Turn around. Do yourself around.
he's shocked. He's like, I'm a cop. How could you do this to me?
I apologize, but I was on my way to an off-duty.
I don't.
But ma'am.
Stand up. You got anything else? Any other weapon on you? No off-duty weapon?
Going to a school that I work in Coconut Grove, and I'm late for work. That's just what it is. But other than that, I didn't know you were talking to me. I was.
What?
I'm the police.
You're over 120 miles per hour.
Man,
Back up.
Okay. Man, but listen to me for a second. Man,
So Officer Lopez is the officer from Miami-Dade who was caught speeding. He pled no contest and was ordered to do 100 hours of community service and pay a $3,300 fine for the cost of prostitution. And pay $3,300 for the cost of prosecution. So initially he was only going to be suspended for a month, but the police chief started investigating a little deeper. His car had a GPS tracker on it and found that there were 53 times in September and October that this same officer was caught speeding on the freeway. On September 1st, 2011, he averaged 105 miles per hour. On October 12th, he averaged 90 miles per hour. And on September 4th, he averaged 120.86 miles per hour between Golden Glades and Cypress Creek North. So due to the fact that he was a habitual offender, the police chief did choose to terminate him. And if it weren't for the Florida Highway Patrol officer that finally pulled him over, held him at gunpoint, and arrested him, none of this would have likely come to light. So I'm sure you're guessing that the Florida Highway Patrol officer has probably been decorated and praised for catching a criminal in a badge, right? Wrong. So the name of the Highway Patrol officer who stopped a criminal cop is Donna Jane Watts, and she claims in a lawsuit that over the next 14 months, 88 police officers from 25 different departments looked up her driver's license information over 200 times. She also claims that she received phone calls. Some were pranks, others came off as threatening. She regularly received pizzas that she didn't order to her private home. She claims several cars stopped or idled in front of her home. Watts claims that she now lives in a state of fear, even going so far as to take extra caution while opening her mailbox, out of fear something dangerous might be inside. Her superiors don't think she'll ever be able to return to duty on the road, and if she got into a situation where she needed backup, she does not think that she would receive it. The fear, she claims, has forced her to live like a hermit, and she's considering moving. And you're probably assuming that it was at least an easy win for her on this lawsuit, right? Wrong. An appeals court decided in 2017 that the officers had not violated her privacy by illegally looking her up through the state system because officers argued that she had pulled a gun on a Miami police officer, and therefore they wanted to be able to identify her for their own safety. and they needed to be able to see her picture. Could you imagine if one of us had committed a crime and a police officer ended up pointing a gun at us, and then we went and started using state systems to stalk the police officer that pointed a gun at us? This is the culture of policing and your government today. Trooper Watts didn't see a police officer. She simply saw someone breaking the law and handled it accordingly. And for that, rather than being commended, she was terrorized and her entire career was destroyed. Then when she went to the judicial system to try to seek justice, they shot her down as well. Philosopher Frederick Bastiat said, "When plunder becomes a way of life for a group of men in a society, over the course of time, they create for themselves a legal system that authorizes it and a moral code that glorifies it. Like we always say here, back the blue until it happens to you. And just because you're a cop doesn't mean it's not going to happen to you too."